It's Wednesday evening. You're listening to Mystic Moon Cafe with Wendy and Travis Short. Every week, we will interview guests that are experts in various fields of the supernatural, paranormal, unexplained, and esoteric. So sit back and let us take you on a journey to educate, enlighten, and entertain as we broaden your horizons. Now, here's your hosts, Wendy and Travis Short. You're listening to Mystic Moon Cafe. The views and opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the network, or our sponsors.
And that was Shaman's Harvest with, I believe that was Blood in the Water. We enjoy them a lot. Hi, I'm Wendy,
And I'm Travis. And
but he's not
I
sure about that.
he's not sure. I'm sorry, I was lost in translation. So we it's been one of those days. I'm sorry. I mean,
Poor thing. I hate when those days happen.
they're all like that. They're all like that for me. I don't know. How's Windy Lady?
I don't know, fair to middling, I guess.
My I haven't heard that term in a very long time. My grandmother used to say that all the time. Fair to middling and partly cloudy.
Hmm.
Yep, that was hers. She was also as fine as frog's hair.
Yep, that one too.
Hmm. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, just life goes on and we float along with it, I guess.
Or not.
Or not, yeah.
As the world turns, or it doesn't.
Hmm. As the stomach turns.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, so now we have had some scheduling issues for the program tonight.
Right. Cindy apparently had a family emergency, and
Yes,
we'll get her rescheduled. It'll all be good.
absolutely. Um, Now next week we have Bill Bean. Bill's coming back on.
Hmm.
Bill sought us out again. He was like a dog with a bone. You know, he wants to come back on. Wants to come back on the. I mean,
Right.
wants wants to come back on the show,
Hmm.
and then has some. He wants to go a totally different direction, which is very unusual for Bill. He typically we talk dark forest, we talk the Mandela effect, but Bill's wanting to get more into some of the things we've touched on some shows. We wanted to last time, but we didn't get to. He wants to get into the UFO conspiracy. He wants to talk a little bit about the reptilians and their control of government. Just some. He wants to get more into some to conspiracy theories, which we have done a little bit with the whole chemtrail thing with the
Hmm.
airplanes and things like that. But he wants to really get into more detail concerning those types of things. So he's coming on next Wednesday night, so that'll be should be a very interesting show. Then on the 1st of October, we have. Help me out. I need a name, and I can't think of a name. Wendy, I'm going brain dead.
Christy Lee.
Yes, Christy Lee.
Hmm. She's an energy healer, uh, life coach. It said on her Facebook page she was an alchemist, but I think it's just she likes to transform people's lives into something better, try to help people heal.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting how many of the people that we have had coming on the show that are into that type of holistic healing.
Indeed, yes. Actually, the whole slew of them here recently.
I know, really, it's like
And
yes.
a lot of them have been coming to us, which is fine. I think you and I could probably use all the energy and holistic healings that we can possibly get.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Um,
Sorry, my tablet decided to lose internet connection, and I'm having to restart it. So I don't know if we're even on or not, but I believe we are.
well, I hear us, so
I
I
hear
mean,
us too. Yes. Well, I don't know if we have any people in the chat room or anything. So.
oh, so you need to figure that
Hmm.
out. Okay, I'm not
Just
in the
doing
chat room, so
it. Well,
I,
of course you are.
oh,
Just of a different kind.
this is true. This is true.
Hmm.
So we have Christy Lee on Sunday the 1st. We have
Yep.
on October 4th coming up the first hour called Rosha Ona. Did I get it right that time? You're going to correct my
I
pronunciation again.
think it is. I suppose it is. Yeah.
Kodro. I need that. That sounds very Russian to me.
It does, and especially the way you say it.
Well, I was trying.
You were doing very well. You're doing a
Thank you.
good job there.
And
Hmm.
called Rosha Ona Carol,
Hmm.
Cece the Huntress, Queen of the Paranormal, which I have known her for about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, maybe longer than that. It may be closer to like 6 or 7. Now that I think about it, because she was one of the first people that Bill Bean actually referred to me, and I've known Bill now for going on 8 years. So uh, it's going to be very interesting to have her on. This will be she's got a slew of firsts as far as things that she has done, including having
Groundbreaking, yeah,
groundbreaking
groundbreaking
things. Yes, and so this.
technology
Yes.
methods, yes, the whole bit.
Yes. And so she's going to be on the show, which will be a first for her and a first for us. So it's going to be kind of a fun evening there. I'm not sure about the second hour, but her basic premise is she will only do 1 hour of a multi-hour program, and
Okay.
she likes to do the first hour. And I understand that. I would do the same thing with most of my clients. It's like, no,
Mhm.
you be the opening act, be the first thing that people hear. Um, but so we're still working on that second hour, and then we've got a bunch of folks lined up in October. Nick Redfern's coming back on October 25th. We've got Richard Estep and Vanessa Mitchell coming back on in October as well. I have got to do that one. I know I have not orchestrated that yet. I don't think I'm working on it. Maybe
Okay. Well,
I'm.
hopefully.
I'm really indecisive. I am basically a living embodiment of Schrodinger's cat. I am, I am, and I'm not at the same time. There are all these things I'm certain about, and some that I'm a little fuzzy on. So,
Hmm. Well,
so
I'm a little bit more like John Oliver with I don't know it for a fact. I just know it's true.
just know it's true, right?
Yeah.
So, um, so I mean, honestly, we've got a lot of great guests though lined up for this. This honestly the last quarter from October, November, and December, which is really odd
Mhm.
because this was when things kind of went slow for us last year. Um, for lots of different reasons.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just where we were.
It was where we were, but it also, you don't see a lot of people publishing this time of year, but we are getting requests from authors that have either ebooks or traditional books coming out, and they're wanting to come on the show, and I love that. I love that people are actually seeking us out.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, not stalking us that we know of, but they are seeking us out and wanting to come on the show. So that, so, um,
Yep.
and
Sorry. My mind went
you
silent.
went.
Yep. Pretty much.
Wendy Lady went, "Buh."
Well, I've been a little busy myself, and
I know you have.
I'm thinking about the getting the computer set up and getting Eric Asher's most recent
Yes.
Vesic book, getting the arc read and getting the corrections back to him and getting reviews up. And honestly, the first 3 books is a set right now on BookBub, and you can go on any of the like Nook and Kobo and iTunes and Amazon and get the 3 book starter kit for free right now. So I highly suggest you do it because man, that's a good darn series.
And we need to have him back on.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've tried, and he's like, Wendy, I got all these deadlines. I just don't have time. And I said, uh-huh.
See,
Mm-hmm.
I he's
But I
gonna have
can't
to.
pimp his books out. So
Yeah, he's got to commit to the publicity. I get committing to the deadlines. Commit to the publicity. Get
that's right.
yourself in
Come
line.
on, move,
Come
son,
on.
move.
Hmm.
He is kind of an Ozarkian type fellow though, so getting him to move, from
Okay,
my standpoint, might be a little, challenging.
a little challenging. Yeah,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
understand.
That
So
hillbilly mentality, you just can't move it even with a
I
bulldozer sometimes.
I wouldn't know anything about that living in Virginia and Kentucky and West Virginia. But I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Hillbilly mentality. What?
Inbreeders,
What?
possibly sometimes.
Walton's Mountain. Wrong
Ken,
turn. Wrong
Kentucky, where the
turn.
family tree don't branch.
Next to Ken, Patrick, Swayze, mofos. Yeah, I know. I hear you. I
That
got it.
was us, yeah. That he was from Springfield, so
Yeah,
Missouri.
but not in the movie Next to Ken. He
I
was from
think he was.
no, he was from Kentucky. They went from Kentucky up to Chicago.
Well, I think they went from down in the Ozarks to Chicago.
I am going to respectfully disagree with you.
Well, you're probably right because you have that memory, but I really thought it was not that way.
No, everybody just wanted it to not be that way. You know
Well,
what
that's true, too.
you know what I love about that movie is Liam Neeson is in that, in a very early Liam Neeson role, and he does this god awful
Oh, yeah.
hick accent. But it's so funny watching Liam Neeson in that, and then watching him in the Taken movies and the A-Team and all these action flicks.
Uh-huh.
And then there was another movie. It was. I was thinking about this the other day. There was another movie back in it was late '80s, early '90s. I think it was called High Spirits, and it was set in a haunted Scottish castle. And Liam Neeson played one of the ghosts in that, and it was this god awful movie. I mean, it was horrible. But Steve Guttenberg was in it. I mean, we're talking back.
I think I vaguely remember that. Yes, it sounds like a Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah,
movie.
it was back in the day, and Richard Harris, was it Richard Harris? No, Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole was the lord of the manor, and he knew the place was haunted, so he decided to make it this tourist attraction. And so people start coming in on the buses, and there's this whole ghostly love story, Liam Neeson's knight and this fair lady who's actually this old wrinkled hag,
Right, yeah.
But it was so funny seeing Liam Neeson do those early roles that he did to the action star, solid leading man type actor that he is now.
Right. To Rob Roy, basically.
To Rob Roy, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Never to be confused with Roy Rogers,
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Although that would make a very interesting kind of mashup movie. Rob Roy Rogers. That would be an interesting mashup right there.
I think we would have to bring old Abbott and Costello back for that.
I think so.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're just kind of floating through this evening, guys. We didn't have a lot planned in case, we just didn't have a backup plan.
We didn't, and we should. We should always have plan B, and we never do.
I know. We never know where we're going to be or what's going to be happening, though. And
I mean, hell, you can get plan B over the counter now, and we still don't have one.
That's right.
I'm going to get in trouble for that one. I know there's going to be somebody.
Probably, but it's not going to be me.
That one's going to bite me. I can tell you.
Right in the buttocks.
Mm-hmm. So we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking earlier before we came on. Actually, you and I were talking today about some things that we could kind of touch on in kind of a breaking news type thing. Of course, we've had Hurricane Irma and Harvey that have hit the southern Gulf states, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, South Carolina, all hit very hard over the past several weeks. And then, of course, we have Hurricane Maria now that is pounding on the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and making its way towards the U.S. Of course, early on the prognosticators were saying we don't think it's going to actually hit the U.S. It may not make landfall. You never know. May not.
They forget that Puerto Rico is part of the United
I know, right?
States. And we haven't heard a thing from Cuba during all of these god awful hurricanes, and I'm wondering if they're still there.
I know.
I don't mean any disrespect in that. I think that it's bad. I think it's really, really bad down there. And the Caribbean has been one of my favorite vacation destinations always.
I've never been. I want to go. I think it would be great. But I mean, they have seen their fair share here with this hurricane season.
And they've seen more than their fair share. Yes.
They have, I know. And then, of course, Mexico had a horrible earthquake a couple of weeks ago, right around the time
day
of
before
Harvey.
Yesterday.
Yeah, and there was one a couple of weeks ago, and then this most recent one. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because they had one right after Harvey hit Texas, because the Mexican president had offered support coming in, sending in people to help with the relief, and then they were hit with an earthquake, and then they were hit with an earthquake yesterday, and ironically, it was a 7.1, and ironically, it hit a day after, and I heard this from ABC News, which my radio stations run, that it was the day after they had just gone through a whole series of earthquake drills.
Oh, well, then, good.
But it was also in 1984 that the most deadly earthquake hit Mexico on September 19th, 1984.
Goodness.
So it was literally to the day. What is that?
I can't tell you.
33 years?
Yeah, because that was actually the year that I graduated high school as well.
Yeah,
so
33. So yeah, so 33 years to the day this horrible earthquake, and then today, what was it, 6.1 earthquake off of Japan?
Yep, over by
Fukushima.
Fukushima, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really have to be careful on how I pronounce it.
Oh, you and I both, yeah. That could get real fun real quick. Although,
quick, yeah.
Since, okay, I will admit, Japan was, I don't hold grudges, but at the same time, I'm always leery because, they had my great uncles held there during World War II. So,
yes.
And it was bad.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Nobody deserves what's happening now, though. That's retaliation
and payback. Paybacks are a bitch, no matter how.
They are, yes, but
no matter whether you're on the giving side or the receiving side, paybacks are a bitch.
Yes.
They never work out. They really don't. But we did see that, and that brings all of these questions up about what's going on. As we had Andrea Perrin on, back in 2013, 2014, and since then, she's talked a great deal about Mother Earth and Gaia being in upheaval and being upset and being in revolt, in all honesty, about what humankind is doing on this planet.
Duh.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then of course, we've been talking a little bit about something else that it's not making mainstream news. It is circulating on the internet, a lot of the conspiracy websites and things like that, which is the most recent doomsday prophecy of September 23rd, which is Saturday, which is the appearance of Planet X / Nibiru, depending on what you want to call it, possibly coming back into orbit and destroying life as we know it. So that's
true. Yes, yeah. And that's behind a lot of these incredible upheaval weather events, right?
That is a theory that what we're seeing with these massive hurricanes, these earthquakes, because there was actually an earthquake here in Virginia last week. We don't get earthquakes in Virginia.
We do now.
We do now. There was an earthquake in the New River Valley, which is about 3 hours away from where I am. The last time there was an earthquake in Virginia,
was cool. Travis, can you do that again?
What'd I do?
Well, your voice sounded like you kind of maybe dropped into a well and got really deep voiced. And
No, I did not do that. I did not do that intentionally. I don't know what happened. I didn't hear that. That's funny though.
It is. Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway. The last time there was an earthquake here in Virginia was back in 2011. Mm-hmm. And it ran from Washington, D.C. all the way down the East Coast. And it was felt all the way down that fault line. And I was sitting in my apartment at the time. And we did feel it. It shook, and things rolled off the desk, and I was sitting in my rolling desk chair, and the apartment that I was in was not, it was not 5-star by any means. I kind of rolled backwards when it happened. So 6-7 years, we haven't seen an earthquake, and all of a sudden we get one. It was like a 3.2. 3.2, 3.3 sometime last week. So, you have all of these natural, quote unquote, possibly supernatural, possibly preternatural. Yeah, we can add all kinds of things to the natural.
Absolutely.
These things happening, and people are saying, well, it's because Nibiru may be coming back. Now, for folks who don't know Nibiru, and a lot of people do not, it is a planet that Zecharia Sitchin, who is, along with Eric von Daniken, is kind of the forefather group of ancient astronaut theory. Of course, Eric von Daniken, with Chariots of the Gods, really presented this concept of ancient aliens or ancient astronauts coming to Earth and influencing mankind. Zecharia Sitchin, around the same time, was reading a lot of Sumerian tablets, and the Sumerian tablets talk about these deities known as the Anunnaki, and Sitchin claimed that his interpretation of those tablets proved that the Anunnaki were actually a group of extraterrestrials who came from the planet Nibiru, which was on a very large elliptical orbit and exists in the solar system, but is far in the outreaches of space and will only actually come into the regular orbit of the other planets around the sun about every 3,500, 4,000 years. And so his theory was that the Anunnaki had come to Earth from that planet, trying to restore and replenish some of the natural resources that they had depleted on their world. Now, doomsday theorists and these doomsday prophets today are saying that, on September 23rd, Nibiru is actually going to come crashing into planet Earth and basically decimate humankind as we know it. Thank you all for joining the show. Good night. Sleep well.
Oh, I like that. Yes. And we're out. Yeah.
As Paul Harley would say, that's the rest of the story. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just these days I feel bad for the children, but the adults are earning every last annihilation scenario that comes.
Absolutely.
Yep. But I would like to see that full moon ritual ceremony thing with.
I know you want to see that. I know.
Yep, I do.
I want you to broadcast live from there. I just want to listen in.
I will see what I can do, or I might try to just record it if I can make my my phone or something.
You're hedging your bets. You're hedging your bets.
Well, yeah. I have no idea
you're afraid it's going to get out of control.
Wi-Fi or anything.
You're afraid it's going to get out of control. I know what you're afraid of.
No, I don't think the full moon ritual will. That's for healing and everybody feeling better. Now that witch's night on the 21st might be a whole nother story. Indeed, October 21st. That is so.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's the one that I was thinking about.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm. It'll be fun, regardless.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it reminds me of there's an independent writer named Angie Fox. She writes the Southern Ghost Hunters series,
yes.
Which is very, very cute. But she also writes the it's a witches one, and the biker witches. They're bikers, they're witches, they're just holy cow terror on wheels. And it kind of sounds like this MTG Mystic Trinity Gypsies group, which is one that are hosting these events that I'm going to in October. They sounded awful lot like them.
Okay, interesting.
Quite right.
So yes, I'm thinking that could be fun.
It could be fun, or it could be, you keep your phone on that night, Travis, because I may be calling for bail money. You just never know.
That's funny.
Help!
Yeah. And I would wire you the money. I would be right there to bail you out. I've had to be bailed out of jail a couple of times myself. So yeah.
Oh goodness me.
I know.
Ooh, that
No,
okay. Now the guy that I do clean that, I do that little bit of cleaning with occasionally. He is a defense lawyer here in Kansas City, so might
yes,
be the first
that
call. Yeah,
helps.
it helps a lot. Yes.
That does help.
Hmm.
I Those are always good people to have on your side.
Most definitely. But yeah, well, it looks like the Pacific Northwest is getting rain, thank God, and
Hmm.
it's helping a lot. But now that's another, just odd weather pattern because they're so droopy all the time. It seems like, although they assure
I
me that the
know.
humidity is not bad, but they get a hell of a lot of rain. But they haven't, and their weather became like Kansas City weather in August, and now we've gone back to hot and sultry, and storms all over the place again. But it's just weird. It's just very, very, very odd, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, the
Which is really
whole,
tough.
all the, exactly.
It's weird. And as far as I could tell, it looked like possibly areas of the world like Greece and well, all those little surrounding countries that change
Hmm.
names quite often. They were
Yep.
having just ungodly wildfires as well, and odd weather and cats and dogs living together.
Yes, mass
Hmm.
hysteria.
Complete. Hmm. Who knows though? It
Mhm.
might just be a phase.
It could be a phase of the moon.
It could be.
A phase, yeah, you never
Hmm.
know. There's all kinds of weird stuff out there, but and that is one of the things that if Bill were on here tonight, he would point out that biblical prophecy talks to signs in the seasons and the weather patterns and signs in the skies and those types of things. And I think even most indigenous tribes, and indigenous people point to looking at natural occurrences because I do think for whatever reason this planet does respond and react to what's going on around it.
Yes, I agree entirely. Yeah. She's going, now wait a minute, guys. This is BS. Screw with me, please. You don't mess with Mother Nature.
Exactly. That is
Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
So,
Yep, but so it does. Golly, the oceans that are well, okay, the ice caps are melting if they're not already done. Um,
yeah.
all of the oil spills and the oppression of the people trying to make it stop. If a sinkhole opened up in Congress right now and swallowed every last lawmaker, well, it might be a decent start, but then again, you might get just even that, if not worse, to come back in to replace them. It's just
Exactly.
insanity. Um, Prejudice and biased and just all kinds of horrid things are coming back into play, and it's just wrong. It's wrong. Love thy neighbor. Isn't that part of the Bible? Love thy neighbor.
That that
we
is
all we all bleed red, basically.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And we do forget that.
Yes.
We do. Some friends of mine had posted on Facebook after all, in the midst of a lot of this racial tension and all of that, a picture
Hmm.
of a brown farm raised egg and a white store bought egg,
Hmm.
and then it whole and then cracked open and in a pan, and it's just like like and share when you get this. The thing is, they're the same on the inside. The shell may be different,
Right.
but on the
Yep.
inside they're the same.
Yep.
A little corny, but it still does. I think it does resonate and ring true.
Hmm. Oh, I do too. I agree completely. I Let's see. Last weekend, I saw the movie called Hidden Figures.
Yes, about the African American female physicists with they
They
work with
were
NASA.
well. They called them computers because it was 1962.
Yes.
Yeah. And God, yeah, they were physicists. They were numerologists. And I admit, is that the right word, Travis? Because I mean,
I
they
think,
were in the
yeah,
upper mathematics. They were genius women. I mean,
yeah,
just made me go gaw. But
uh-huh.
yeah, Kevin Costner, when he finds out that the one poor woman's having to run a half a mile one way to go use the colored restrooms, he takes a baseball bat to that colored restroom sign and says, "We all pee the same color at NASA."
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It really was. I mean, it was just, one of those holy crap moments. And it's true, just I don't understand. Maybe I don't want to understand. Um, I just can't imagine treating anybody that bad, but that's me. I may get grouchy
Well,
and bitch at people, but that's not being that, even
no,
remotely. Yeah.
no, not at all. And I don't, the whole concept of racism and bigotry, I just don't get. It's just, I mean, I can be an ass to anybody. You don't have to be in
Absolutely.
a particular group for me to be that to you. I don't get it.
Nope.
I don't get singling, and saying I don't like you because of your skin color or because of your orientation, who you like to sleep with, or no, it doesn't make
If
sense
you're
to
a
me. I don't
decent
get it.
person, you're good. You're good. We'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. You be good to me, I'll be good to you.
I may not want to hear all the details either, but we're good.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm okay, you're okay kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. I don't ask and you don't have to tell me.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm a simple kind of girl that way.
Oh,
It just doesn't
so
bother me. I just support and help one another and love one another and just stop. Just stop with the bad stuff. Or Mother Nature is going to erase us. Start over. I don't blame her. Good old Gaia.
yep, etch a sketch.
Etch a
Shake it up. Etch a sketch into the etch it,
start
et,
over.
yeah, etch a sketch into the world. Oh,
I don't even think they make etch and sketches anymore, but you can draw
probably
online,
not.
so I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
true. They probably don't. And I never could really get the etch a sketch thing to work, damn it. I mean, I could draw straight lines from left to right
Hmm.
or up and down, and that was it.
Hmm. Well, that's the extent of my artistic ability in that type of thing. So
And I was like, okay.
okay, yeah,
Uh,
Wendy, your people look awfully odd. Well, yeah, but that's just my take on
e-
it.
even even stick people were going, no, you can't come in here. We're voting you
Exactly,
off
yeah,
the island. These stick people don't
exactly.
get to be here. Yeah, I know.
Hmm. Ah,
Some
goodness.
funny stuff.
Hmm. We just don't have much going this evening. I mean, we've a
We
lot
don't.
going on, yeah, but
We do, but we don't.
hmm
We
it's
just
kind
weren't
of
ready.
a tired day. That's right. We just weren't.
We weren't prepared.
I will have the new computer up and running shortly, though, and
Yes, and that's going to
that
be
will
a
be
help. And
fun. Yes. Well, hopefully. I do hate, having to call on Carly all the time, if we want to do anything, basically.
I know,
And I'm, oh, sorry, please.
but no, I was gonna say, but she's been such a trooper. I mean,
Oh,
she.
absolutely, yes.
But it is well, it's just problematic
Yes.
to try to get all of everything lined up and then have somebody else kind of produce
Hmm.
remotely.
And if I forget to get our files together and sent to her early enough, then
Right.
that causes problems as well. And sometimes the old computer is just cantankerous, and I have to restart and clean the cache and clean up the hard disk, and it's just the poor old girl is old and cranky, kind of like me, but uh well, yeah, neither one of us can really be upgraded these days, so
Oh, well, there you go.
the memory is crashing and we're just there.
That's funny.
Hmm. uh,
That is funny.
hmm got my friend Lisa headed to Belgium right now
Ooh,
for work.
what? Okay. Okay.
Right. She's fighting it though. At some point, she became very, very scared of flying, and I tried to talk her through it and tell her, I get kind of motion sick, or I think it actually has a lot more to do with the air pressure differences and how they do all of that. But I said, but what gets me through is focusing on the destination and not the transportation and the trip itself. So hopefully that'll help her, and she'll get out there and be have some Dutch chocolate or something. I don't know.
Visit some windmills.
There you go. Maybe some
dancing,
opium dens.
Dance in some wooden shoes. Have some marijuana brownies and cookies and things like that. For me, see, I love to fly. I really do. Mm-hmm. And I've only had, seriously, and I've been flying. The first flight that I took was in 1998. That was the first flight. So I have flown from almost 20 years. I've been flying. I have flown domestically. I have flown internationally. I love to fly. I love train travel. I love both of those modes of transportation.
Okay.
I've only had 2 in-flight scary moments. One was I was in the bathroom and we hit turbulence, and I was bounced all over that damn bathroom. Just
well, at least you were in the right spot.
Boom.
Yeah.
I know. It was like a ping pong ball. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, and I've heard about how small those are. I don't think I've ever had to get up and use one at the time. So, but and you're tall. I would have no problem. But yeah. Yes.
The other one, I was asleep, and we apparently had hit turbulence, and the flight attendant woke me up to tell me that we had hit turbulence and that I needed to bring my seat into the upright position. And I'm like, well, thank you so much. I would have slept through this little inconvenience.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have known anything about it. I just thought somebody was rocking me gently to sleep,
There you go. Yeah.
And then there was a third one. We were flying. I think I was flying to Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. And we hit an air pocket, and the plane dropped like 1,500, 2,000 feet. There was no turbulence. We flew in, we hit it, and dropped. It's like, when you go over a bump in the road really fast, you get that, your stomach's, it was just like that. You just fly through, and then woof, and it's like, holy crap. What was that?
That'll make your eyes open wide.
And then you're like, so then everybody's like, ordering the bar cart to come by so you can get some wine or beer or liquor.
Oh, God, why? Okay, yes, the airplane movies are now playing it through my head. Yeah.
Assume crash positions,
Yeah.
My favorite thing, well, I love the airplane movies, but the first one is Lloyd Bridges' character, I picked a fine day to quit drinking. I picked a fine day to quit methamphetamines. I picked a fine day to quit snorting glue. I picked just one thing after another.
Yep.
It's like, and what's so funny is I have days like that. I'm like, God,
Well, I remember being a very young, probably right around 20 years old, and my friend, her stepdad, I think it was, he needed to fly down to the Lake of the Ozarks, and he had a little 6-seat Cessna, and we took that down, and that was the best plane ride I ever had. I had no motion sickness whatsoever, and you would think in that little itty bitty airplane that I would have been climbing the walls, but that just wasn't me at the time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I really do think it was the air pressurization as much as anything. But it was fun. That was so fun. And then we drove somebody's car. Yeah. The good old days.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh. Excuse me. I told you about my lung. I'm like, I feel like Doc Holliday anymore. I've just got this. my My right lung is shot. There's nothing there. There's like, your right lung, you have an upper, a middle, and a lower lobe. Well, apparently the upper and middle lobe on my right lung are gone. There's no activity in them whatsoever. And this was me being stupid. This is me being stupid. Last year, around, well, actually, it's been almost 2 years ago now.
Letting that pneumonia overtake you, not getting.
I did not go to the doctor. I battled the pneumonia without any type of treatment, and I battled it for several months, about almost 3 months, without going to the doctor, and I'm paying the price for it. I can't breathe, and I have this. So I have like the lower lobe in my right that's working, and I have about 80% working in my left because the left lung had become infected with pneumonia. When I did finally go to the doctor, I was able to get that one resolved, but not before about 20% of the damage had been done. I know. It was bad. I mean, I was the pneumonia that I had was so bad. I was in the middle of the night. I was waking up. I kept a trash can by my bed. I was coughing up stuff that looked like mayonnaise.
I could have gone the rest of my life without doing that. Thanks, Travis. I'm going to be barfing something similar to that here in a moment.
Pleasant dreams.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Good night and good luck.
Oh yeah, I'm going to get a hold of Luna and ask her to send some fun dreams your way tonight.
No, don't do that. Don't do that to me. I need to sleep. Don't do that to me.
If you're listening, Luna, we may have to play with those voodoo dolls that whoever's putting that workshop on.
Oh, please.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Voodoo doll my ass.
I know. But there really is a workshop up here in Kansas City in the next week or two for making voodoo dolls. Cool. Yeah, little poppets.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
My response to it was what could possibly go wrong here?
Exactly.
I believe Carly's going to join us shortly, but she's not quite here yet. Oh, there you go. You sound good.
I told you this is what happens.
I just hope that the old asbestosis or mesothelioma doesn't attack me later on, because I was in a few different, I've worked in power plants and shipyards and places where there was asbestos everywhere. It was supposed to be abated, but you know how that goes,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, 90% maybe, and then you're up there breathing it all, which is fun. I think I'll be okay. I don't expect to live long enough to have that come into play anyway.
Yeah, I've used that same term because with both my mother and father's side of the family, heredity and genes, I'm fucked. And I know, I'm sorry, but okay. I mean, I just am. I mean, my mother's side of the family, it's cancer.
Okay.
I mean, people who've never even smoked a day in their life, cancer.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's side of the family, it's like heart disease.
Okay.
And then both sides of the family have diabetic problems.
Okay.
My mother's side of the family has, like substance abuse problems. I mean, so there is like no way that I am going to be able to actually live a very long life. My great-grandfather lived the oldest. He was 99.
Okay.
My grandmother, his daughter, lived to be 90.
Okay.
Now, that's that side of the family. Now, my mom's dad, my grandfather, died at 56. He retired in January. He was dead in April.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
My mother's brother, dead at 42. Ew. My mother's sister, dead at 49. My mother's other brother did make it to 65. I know. This is what I'm saying.
Now, Carly, are you muted or unmuted? Can the world at large hear you, or is it just us?
Howdy, y'all. They can hear me.
Okay.
Unfortunately for them.
Not at all. Not remotely.
So, Travis, you didn't get far enough into that whole Planet X thing.
What would you like to know?
That was why I wanted Carly to come in, because I knew she had more pertinent questions than I even knew to ask. So,
what would you like to know? I mean, I'm not an expert on it. It's one of those things that kind of has always popped up in areas that I do research.
Yes.
Yes, I am familiar with Zecharia Sitchin. I'm familiar with his works. Probably mainstream-wise, they've never really done anything with it except one movie, The Fourth Kind, with Mila Jovovich, and they did a really good job dealing with the Anunnaki and Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind and things like that. But they deal with in great depth with the Anunnaki, the Sumerian tablets, and things like that. Nibiru, this I was looking. It popped up on my Facebook timeline while we were sitting here talking. This is from. Let me see. I gotta find it. It popped up and it was gone. This was CBS. Here it is. CBS Philadelphia, the end of the world. If you had plans for the weekend, a Christian numerologist says you will not get to them. David Mead, self-proclaimed researcher, is predicting that a series of apocalyptic events will begin on September 23rd, brought about by the appearance of the planet Nibiru.
I think they've already started.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we've been in pre-apocalyptic events for a couple of centuries.
At least.
Very true. Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm.
But this is one of those.
Spit it out, son. Spit it out.
I'm trying. It's the tail end of all of these apocalyptic events that were supposed to take place. First there was Y2K.
Right.
Everything was going to shut down. It was going to be a cataclysm. Computers were going to, airplanes were going to fall from the sky. And then that was December 31st, 99, January 1st, 2000. Then, as I told you guys before we came on, there was the whole thing of 5/5/2000, May 5th, 2000. That there was supposed to be this planetary alignment. All the planets were going to line up in a straight line with the sun, and it was going to cause upheaval in the polar, the Earth's polar axis and the magnetic field, and all of this that came and went, and nothing happened. And then there was December 21st, 2012, the Mayan calendar, that all of this, everything was going to stop. There was nothing beyond 2012. No one saw it. None of the prophets, none of the seers, none of the prognosticators. Nobody saw anything in the world's future beyond 2012. Well, here we are 5 years in, and we're still here. And now you've got this new, doomsday harbinger of doom, David Mead, who's taking basically Sumerian myth, Zecharia Sitchin's ancient astronauts theories, and melding it with the book of Revelation and certain things that are supposed to happen with alignment of stars and the moons and eclipses, and that it's all going to come to an end on Saturday. And for those who are football fans, they're all going, well, that depends on who wins between UK and Florida. So.
Now, I just have to say, Travis, that you don't know that the world didn't end at any of those places. It just didn't happen in our reality.
Well, that is very true.
Ooh, I like that.
That is very true. That can be very true. I am not opposed to the multidimensional, multiplane, alternate universe theory. I really am not. As a matter of fact, when we get Bill Bean talking about the Mandela effect and all these changes and things like that, do you guys remember when? Oh crap! Who was the reporter who got in all the trouble because he had reported things differently than they actually were during the Iraq War? Was it Peter Jennings?
Oh yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, I'm actually going. His defense should be in his reality. That's how that shit went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're remembering it differently, not him.
Right. Exactly. Well, I've done quite a lot of research on this Mandela effect thing because my daughter came to me one night, my 19-year-old daughter, and she's like, Mom, do you know about the Bernstein Bears? Whatever. I was like, you mean the Bernstein Bears? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, did you know about this whole Mandela effect thing? I was like, no. And so then, like, I looked it up because she's like, well, it's pretty cool. You should look it up. So I looked it up, and then almost every one of them, I was like, oh, my gosh. And so I'm like, Caitlin, I don't think we're from this reality. Like, I believe whatever reality I'm from must have ended in, like, 2008, and I got sucked into the next closest universe or whatever that was closest to mine. And I think that's probably what happens. And there's a lot of speculation from the Mandela people, of course, about how this must happen, you know, that not like your body goes to another reality. That would be stupid. But just that your, like, consciousness does. Yeah. So I think that's totally true because I had a scar on my face from when I was a little kid, like 12 years old. It was where this cat had bitten me on my temple. And it was a huge scar. It was there forever. And then after you guys had Bill Bean on last time, I was doing some more research on the Mandela effect. And people said, you know, scars have disappeared or new ones have appeared that they didn't, you know, remember having, blah, blah, blah. So I went and looked in the mirror and that scar is gone. So apparently, I don't know when it disappeared because, I mean, it's just been there all my life. It's something I took for granted. So I have no, like, time base for this. But my guess is somewhere around 2008. Just a guess.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, would you consider people from another reality aliens in this reality?
Well, as much as individuals from a foreign country are aliens when they come into the U.S. I mean, if you're using the term alien as being strangers to a, you know,
in a strange land.
In a strange land. Yeah. I mean, I would. I mean, are they extraterrestrial again? Yeah, because they're not of this terrestrial plane. That
right.
was, I used to mess with people in the Southern Baptist Church all the time when I would talk about extraterrestrials. They're like, well, do you believe in extraterrestrials? I'm like, yes, I do. And they're like, well, how can you rectify that with the Bible? I said, do you believe in God? And they're like, well, yeah. I said, well, God is not of this terrestrial plane. He is extraterrestrial.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe it? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's semantics, it's wording, it's terminology.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, when you start looking at that, you know, one of my favorite movies was from the 70s, and I only saw it one time, and it ran on TBS back in the 80s. It actually may have been from the 60s. But it was about this astronaut, and he lifts off, and he does this entire space orbit around basically around the solar system, then comes back to Earth. When he comes back to Earth, little things don't add up. Like he walks into the bedroom with his wife, and he reaches to turn on the light switch, and the light switch isn't there on the right-hand side, and he turns it on the left-hand side.
Huh.
And there's all of these little things that are like mirror opposites. And what you end up finding out is what he did was he went around the universe and he landed on a different Earth.
Whoa.
He landed on an Earth on the other side of the sun, and his doppelganger landed on this Earth. So they both landed, and they both have memories of this world because it's identical except left right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How interesting.
It was a very interesting concept for a movie. So, you know, and I am, you know, I'm one of those individuals. I was telling somebody the other day, you know, I grew up having, you know, the Judeo-Christian Bible pounded into my head. So that's what you believe, that's what you believe, that's what you believe. So that I grew up to the point where that I believe everything and nothing.
Right. Yeah.
As I said earlier, I am the living embodiment of Schrodinger's cat. You know, it is and it's not. I believe in God. I just don't believe in him the way that I was taught to believe in him. I believe in the existence of extraterrestrials, just not as little gray men or insectoids I believe in everything, but at the same time I don't believe in anything the way that everybody believes in it, because I've allowed myself to create my own worldview based on what I've experienced, based on what I've read, and based on what I have researched for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Travis?
And I don't. What?
It's a very unfortunate thing that not everyone is like that.
Very much so.
I don't know. That's just me, and that is just the way that I choose to live my life, and I don't try to make anybody else. You know, I sit and I watch Ancient Aliens, and I agree with a lot of things that are on there, and there's a lot of times I go, "You're full of shit." You are full of shit. Mm-hmm. There is no way that you actually believe that.
Oh my gosh! Were you red ferning or were you anti-red ferning there?
Right there. No, I agree. Redfern is one of the individuals, and I am redferning right now, and I'm wiping my nose as I do it. Redfern, and that's what I love about his books. Redfern never tells you what to think or what to believe.
No, he just puts out the facts and his own postulations. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and he will say, "You make up your own mind." Mm-hmm. He said, "But this is what I have. This is what I have experienced. This is what I have discovered. You make up your own mind." And I respect that. And that was one of the things. When I was a minister, I had people coming to me wanting. I don't have answers, people. I can't. I don't have them.
I have theories, but I have no answers.
And I have no answers. But make up your own. Look. The Apostle Paul, he said it. Work out your own salvation. I mean, work it out for yourself. Find your own answers. Because in the end, that is what life is about. I do believe in the Gnostic approach, that journey. It is about the journey.
Yes.
It is not so much about the destination. But
unless you're afraid of flying and you're
Unless
Lisa.
you're afraid of flying, yeah. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Lisa, and we hope Lisa is not afraid, and we hope that she has a great trip.
Exactly.
It's about the journey. It's about what you do and who you meet and the process. And that was one of the stories in the church whenever I was ministering on Easter. There's always this. There's one particular story after the resurrection of Christ, and that is there are two disciples who are on the road to Emmaus, which is the town. But there is no geographical or archaeological evidence of any town named Emmaus ever existing.
Interesting.
But the word Emmaus means discovery. So they're on a journey to discovery. And these two disciples are constantly talking back and forth about Jesus of Nazareth and the miracles and the crucifixion and the resurrection. And for one Easter, that was the Easter sermon that I delivered, that for us, it really isn't about did it really happen, did it not happen? Can we prove that it happened? Can we not prove that it happened? It's about the journey that we all take to the discovery for our individual selves.
I believe we're going back to, I don't know it for a fact, I just know it's true.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
John Oliver is, yes.
He is John Oliver, yeah.
He is the big J.O.
Yep, that's him. Yep.
So, I remember being a child and growing up in the church, and one of the very first questions I remember asking my dad as I was being tucked into bed one night and he was reading me a Bible story to get me to sleep. My very first question was, when God, and I remember this I could not have been more than 4 years old because my sister was not born at the time. And my sister Brooke was born when I was 4. Mm-hmm. So my sister was not born. It was just me. And I was in bed and he was reading to me. And I remember asking, if God knows everything, when he created Adam and Eve, why did he let them eat the fruit?
Free will.
Well, and that was what my dad tried to explain. But most people don't even ask that question.
Right, yeah.
Most people don't even begin to try to understand the concept of free will. Then I remember, growing up and going, okay, well, if there's only life on Earth, why are there 9 other planets in the solar system?
Yep.
Why are there other solar systems?
Mm-hmm.
Why are there stars?
Why?
Why? And after a while, people go, stop asking questions.
Exactly, yeah.
Put that kid on Ritalin.
I will never stop asking questions.
Put that kid on Ritalin. Give him something to make him stop asking questions.
Right. Make him like everybody else and accept it all. And
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sheep.
And I'm like, I will not drink the Kool-Aid.
Sheep.
I will not drink the Kool-Aid. It's one of the few things I won't drink, but I won't drink the damn Kool-Aid.
Right.
Hey, just as an interesting side thing, did you guys know that Planet X is a band and a bicycle company? I
knew it was a band because when you Wikipedia it and it brings up the disambiguation of Planet X, one of the things is the band. That I knew. I did not know it was a. I did not know it was a
good band. That's what I want to know.
Probably not. Had you heard of them before?
Nope.
So,
not to my recollection. But then again, we know how my recollection works. I set my consciousness on to another dimension at that point, and it got lost.
Exactly. Well, and there's this whole scientifically. Even some astronomers have hinted that they have detected a large planet on the outskirts of the solar system based on the gravitational pull. That there is something out there, and so that has unfortunately brought credence to this whole concept of Nibiru and Planet X. And people say, "Well, it's out there." Well, just because there's something out. It doesn't mean that it's going to come rushing. Okay, look at this is Wednesday, September 20th.
Right.
If there was a giant, massive planet going to come into ours, don't you think we would see something in the skies by now? Don't you think there would be?
But aren't we?
Don't you? Well, I'm talking about a fucking planet.
Isn't that why Bill is so upset and nervous right now? And not nervous, but just, kind of freaking out a little bit. And, hey, just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
That's right. And maybe it's not a planet at all. Maybe it's a spaceship.
Well, it could be.
Yeah, with a cloaking device.
Well, they're well, and of course, you go back to, I'm sure you guys have seen this video that people posted of this circular object that comes really close to the sun and sucks up like some of the fuel of the sun and then darts off back into space. It was picked up by one of NASA's satellites. The video feed was sent back to Earth before it was cut immediately, and then people have been reposting it. And quite frankly, okay, let's look at something coming towards Earth. If you read the Book of Revelation, it talks about the new city Jerusalem coming down from heaven. It's 1,300 miles wide, 1,300 miles high, 1,300 miles wide, and 1,300 miles deep. And it is this giant, which is basically a cube. For those of you playing along at home, it is basically a cube, and it is supposed to come into Earth's atmosphere and set down on Earth. And this is the new city Jerusalem that God provides to mankind. Well, that's just a freaking spaceship. That is the Borg cube, for God's sake. If you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, it is the Borg cube.
I think it may be a Death Star.
It could be a Death Star too.
And Travis, maybe though that is at its, biggest diameter. Maybe it, ends up being a spacer saucer shape, but at its, the biggest part of it is 13.
Absolutely, at 1,300 miles.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it doesn't have to be a square.
No, it doesn't have to be. But it works.
It does.
It made for a great fun analogy of the Borg cube.
Yes, it did. Come to assimilate us.
Yes, exactly. Resistance is futile.
Right.
Which, when you say resistance is futile, it doesn't have the gravity that it does if you're Patrick Stewart saying resistance is futile.
That's true.
So you have to say it futile.
Can we say "Vive la résistance"?
Vive la résistance. Can I say "Contre Russia on a carol" like I am part of Putin's Russia? Yeah, I can do that too.
But can you do it well?
No, I can't. Not really. Unfortunately. I cannot. But "Vive la résistance," yes, I can do that. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so lots of fun stuff. Good doomsday stuff we got going on here with, Planet X.
Yep.
By the
Racer
way,
X.
I was listening earlier when you were talking about that earthquake last week in
Yes.
Mexico. It was a 8.1, I believe it
Okay.
was. Yeah. And now 7.1 again this week. So
This week, and then the 6.1 off of Japan and Fukushima. Oh, I'm sorry, Fukushima. I had to get that one in just so I could actually, say the F word on the show. It was like 6.1 off the coast of Japan.
wow.
Right.
I mean, and then what do we have? We've had Irma was actually downgraded. They were actually going to have to create a whole new classification of hurricanes. They were going to have to come up with hurricane level 6.
Wow.
For Irma, had she not slowed down,
Puttered out, yeah.
Puttered out a little bit, they were going to have to create a whole new realm of hurricane. So I mean, this is groundbreaking stuff. Now, yes, Harvey the same way. Now Maria, yeah. Now Bill will tell you, and he says he has photographs that he captured off the web, that there are that there's evidence that these were manipulated and created by the U.S. government.
They do really look odd if you watch the formations. Excuse me, of these hurricanes. There's a certain point where it looks unnatural for just a little bit. It's truly it makes you go, holy guacamole.
Well, I noticed when it was Irma, and then Jose.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was Maria. They were like in a straight line. I mean, they were one on top of the other, and boom. Mm-hmm. And you don't see that. And here's, it's one of those things. If
they
it's
cancel each other out, if nothing else.
But it's that old adage: if it's a straight line, God and nature didn't do it because nature and God don't do things in straight lines.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you find yourself going, okay, this is bizarre. And, of course, and Redfern has talked about it. And, again, I'm Redferning, wiping my nose. Redfern has talked about, he talks about it in one of his books, and he's talked about it on the show, that there was a time back in the 1970s when the U.S. government was very much interested in weather manipulation, especially during the Vietnam War, because they wanted to be able to control the weather over Vietnam. Mm-hmm. They wanted to control monsoons and rain. And when you think about it, if you control the weather, you do literally control the battlefield.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Wasn't that was a movie too? Sean Connery was the master manipulator or whatever.
That was the Avengers movie, based not Marvel's Avengers, but based on the British TV series. John Steed, Emma Peel. I love that movie. I love that series. I love that movie. And a lot of people didn't like it, but yes, he was August de Winter. August de Winter. And he manipulated and controlled the weather.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said. It reminds me of Bill Murray in Groundhog Day when he's like, "I am the weather. I make this."
Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was definitely, I saw what Bill was saying, but I saw it with my own eyes on the radars and things because that's just fascinating for me. And I went, that's just not natural. That's weird.
That's not right.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. So, we do find, and there's this whole movie coming out. I don't know if it's this year or next year called Geostorm. Okay. Where they're talking about that. They're talking about how the governments have gotten to the point where that they were controlling the weather on Earth using technology, and then technology goes awry, and it creates this geostorm that encompasses the whole Earth and basically is Armageddon and decimates mankind. Well, when you start playing with that shit, you have to deal with the ramifications of playing with that shit. When you play Frankenstein, you play God, you play Prometheus, and you get the fire. Just because you get it doesn't mean you know what to do with it.
Exactly, yeah.
So, there's a lot of things I think that are pertinent and need to be talked about. And like I said, Bill's going to talk about a lot of them when he comes on.
Yep.
And these are not That is next Wednesday. These are areas that I touch on when I do my research, especially with the supernatural, and I do tie things in a lot to the esoteric and the what is called eschatological, which deals with the biblical prophetic outlook on the world. I know, the Antichrist and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, did you say next Wednesday?
We did say next Wednesday, yeah.
I'm not going to be here. There's supposed to be an apocalypse on Saturday.
Well, as
just in case it doesn't happen.
I don't know. They sounded pretty sure about it.
Yep.
I'm planning on being abducted by aliens on Saturday, so I'm not going to make it.
Damn, just as I get my new computer and life as we know it's going to be wiped out.
I know, right? Of course. You had to get a new computer. That's what did all of this, Wendy.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what did it. It's Robbie the Robot or something.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Well, I was going to say, Jimmy Buffett has this great song, "Party at the End of the World."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. He does this whole thing. He's like, "There's a party at the end of the world, but you better get here quick." It's like, we have been talking about the end of the world pretty much since the world began. Yeah, since the beginning, because I think that is naturally the progression. There's a beginning and there's an end. So if we have a beginning of this world, then we automatically assume there's going to be an end. And I think that we anticipate it. Was it Frost? Will the world end in fire? Will it end in ice? I mean, there is that opposite ends of the spectrum. How's the world going to come to an end? Will it be through passion or will it be through indifference? Will it be in a blaze of nuclear holocaust? Will it be in, global warming resulting in the freezing of the earth again and seeing another ice age? Or will it be a giant planet crushing us like stepping on a bug?
Will the core of the earth crack and basically just end it right then?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Don't know. It's all up in the air.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, we will have the answers to a few of the universe's questions, like, is there life after death? Will we know the difference? Does your energy dissipate, or do you move on to another plane?
Exactly. Or is it this whole, and that,
or is it just a big sleep? You're just done. It's poof, you're gone.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and again, biblically, that was one of the things that I used to bring up. If you read the book of Revelation and you see how that it goes through the existence of the world, the destruction of the world, and then everything starts all over in a garden with a tree. It is what we are doing, just repeating this life over and over again until we get it right. Is it possibly that, the Hindus don't have it wrong, the Jews don't have it wrong, the Christians don't have it wrong? We just each have a different piece of the puzzle. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, ever how the world ends, and it may end, as Carly was saying, multiple versions of the world may end multiple different ways, and then we all start all over until we can finally get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if we get it right, it doesn't end the next time. Maybe it just keeps going.
Nirvana. Don't know.
Nirvana. No.
Okay, but we've got to pretty much guess and almost guarantee that if that's true, Travis, then we're kind of on a screwed universe right now, because there's definitely a whole hell of a lot wrong right now on Earth.
Oh, massively, yes.
Oh, absolutely. Politically, religiously, yeah. It is a shitstorm of wrongness.
Yes. Across
the board.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, there's something going wrong, and all of these problems, and it's just like have we gotten it right? No, we have not gotten it right. We are so far from getting it right.
Well, according to David Wilcox, if you don't get it right this life that we're in right now, then you're going to have to spend another something crazy like 30,000 years or something doing it on another planet because the Earth is getting upgraded.
Yes. So, yeah.
Well.
Well, and I think, there is, the upside of that particular theology is we're looking for something better. We have we've mucked this up as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Or we think we have.
Yeah.
Well, true.
So maybe if I can just believe that I'll be sent somewhere else, I can start all over. As Wendy and I were talking about the Etch a Sketch, the Etch a Sketch into the world, beginning of the world. I'm going to shake it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's clean. I'm going to start all over again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but his whole thing was you've got to learn the things that you're supposed to learn and progress your soul to a point where you can start over on a new dimension instead of repeating this one again.
Yeah, David Wilcox, is he the author of Synchronicity Key?
I think so.
Little blonde guy, kind of looks like David Spade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does the wisdom teachings on Gaiam TV.
He is a regular contributor to Ancient Aliens. He's one of those people I keep going, you're full of shit. You don't know, because what I love about Ancient Aliens is they will put these people out there, and a lot of times they have all of these letters after their name, PhD, MA, THD, all this stuff. And then you get people like him, David Wilcox, author, Synchronicity Key. Yeah, the gravity of what you're saying, I'm weighing compared to what these other people were saying.
Hey, he's also an archaeologist too, or something like that.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I like to dig in the backyard too. That does not make me Indiana Jones.
Wouldn't it be cool if it did, though?
It would.
Yep.
I have the fedora. I have the leather jacket. I've got the whip. And I've got the 5 o'clock shadow come 9 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, yeah, I can.
He's got the Wolfman.
I do have the Wolfman. That is. So, it is. Yeah, it's. But yeah. Well, Wilcox is like David Spade trying to be a theologian. It is. I mean, if you look at him, that's what he looks like, David Spade, and he's here talking, and he's trying to be, and sometimes what he says, I do buy into it. There's a lot of stuff that I don't. There's another guy on there, and I can't remember his name right now, but he's one of those that I just he'll present things. He talks about like this one particular complex being so massive, and the stones being so massive, and nobody could have possibly moved them there. So. And this is his quote because I've watched this one particular episode so many times. He's like, so obviously this was a landing pad for extraterrestrial UFOs. I'm like, obviously that you jump from the fact that humans couldn't move it to obviously it was a landing pad for UFOs. Okay, I see the jump there. You must have the gold medal from the U.S. Olympics in jumping because you just jumped from one hypothesis to a conclusion.
Mm-hmm. Woo!
Without any evidence whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe in his universe he had the evidence.
Oh, you and this multi-universe thing. That's right. Keep coming back to the multiverse. Okay.
I like the multiverse. I think it's cool. I think it's real. I think it exists. I don't care what you say.
Oh no, I think it does too. I think that's what deja vu is. I think we're getting glimpses of other realities.
Yes.
I think when we dream things, many times we're dreaming and remembering things from another universe. We're sensing things from another universe, another parallel. I get that entirely. And the authors throughout history, not just religious authors. Hell, C.S. Lewis, Through the Looking Glass. That's nothing more than a parallel dimension. Mm-hmm. It's a fucked up dimension. Don't get me wrong, but it's a parallel dimension.
Maybe this is the dream, and when we think that we're dreaming, we're actually glimpsing the real world.
Exactly. The Matrix, for God's sakes. I mean, the Matrix is nothing. I mean, you've got one reality in your head versus the reality and most of us choose the reality in our head. Mm-hmm. We prefer
Oh, hell yeah.
Most
Are you
definitely.
guys still there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It just all of a sudden got quiet. I went, is anybody out there?
No, they all got kidnapped by the aliens. Gosh, how many times do we have to go over this?
Just one more time.
Okay, all right. Just checking.
Oh
Here.
my goodness.
Oh, I know. So,
Yeah.
Planet X is coming on Saturday, so I better put that
Supposedly.
in my calendar.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things that is being talked about. Like I said, not mainstream. There's a lot of internet chatter out there. A lot of the conspiracy theorists are talking about it. I'm surprised that Bill hasn't talked about it, in honesty, Wendy. I actually had expected Bill, because I remember back in 2010, 2011, when I signed Bill, I actually had lined up for Bill a cruise with a couple of other authors, and they were going to do the book signings and lectures and things like that. But it was around 2012, and it was, the supposed end of the world. And Bill did not want to be anywhere out on the ocean if there was the possibility of the world ending.
Wow.
So I'm surprised he hasn't talked about Nibiru.
Now, I know this is, left field, but I was down in the Caribbean when there was a partial solar eclipse. That was cool, but I was in a boat.
Oh.
And the world didn't end.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It was actually it was super cool, actually, because you were so close to the equator, and, it was just right there. Fortunately, the tender had very, very dark tinted windows, and I had my sunglasses on, so it was all good.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Well, see, as the traditional publicist, I'm like, but Bill, I want you out there at the end of the world. Do you imagine how many books we can sell? If it doesn't happen, you survived 2012.
I just looked directly at the camera and shook my head and just, no,
What do you
say that.
Yeah, I did say that. I did. That's me. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Well, I want Bill, out there, out front, because he might be able to put a stop to it.
If anybody could, it would be Bill Bean. If anybody could, Bill's passion is that rock solid. I mean, his passion, his conviction, he is that rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
He has a firm grasp on what he believes, and the direction that he's going in. I am anxious to hear him talk. About these conspiracy theories that he has about the government and weather manipulation and control.
Oh, I thought he wanted to speak more just about the all of the UFOs and the surrounding hype right now.
Well, he does. He does, but also the government conspiracies surrounding those. Yes. So I'm anxious to hear. Are
you sure, or do you just want to talk about it with him?
The way that Bill's going right now, I honestly don't know what direction the show will go.
I know, yeah. Well, that's why he's safe with us, because we just roll with it generally.
Well, yeah. Typically, we'll see on Wednesday.
I'm gonna be going, holy crap. I'll see you all at, 10 o'clock Central.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Oh, so.
Right. Yeah. Well, I certainly, I'm sending all the good vibes out to Cindy that I can. I don't know what happened, but she is a very private person, even as a, kind of a internet spectacular, personality. I've seen nothing of what may be troubling her, so I hope everything's all right and good.
Me
well, I hope
too.
that I hope she's okay.
Hmm? she'll get back with us when she can, when it happens. But anyway, there's a lot of those long, drawn-out silences now, and I'm keep thinking winter is coming. Yeah, we're kind of searching.
We had nothing to talk about to begin with, knowing that Cynthia wasn't showing up. We stretched
it an hour and a half. Yeah,
I know. I was going to say we stretched it for an hour and a half. We've done a pretty good job.
Yep. And Carly is a tremendous help there. A lot of good ideas, a lot of good thoughts and theories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I can just see Travis over there sitting there just shaking his head with his hand on his forehead. Oh my God, is this lady for real?
I do that with everybody. I wonder if anybody's for real. So, especially at the end of the day, at 11 o'clock at night, my time, I'm going, am I for real? Is there a reality? Is there not? I don't know. I just want to go to sleep.
So you're saying you're an equal opportunity hater? Is that what you're saying?
I am an equal opportunity offender. I really am. I thought Wendy and I covered that early on. It doesn't, I don't care about your skin color, your race, your religion, your creed, anything like that. You piss me off, I'm going to say something mean to you. It doesn't matter.
That's okay. I will don the correct appropriate footwear and kick him solidly in his shins.
This is why we have a disclaimer for the show.
That's right.
Because I open my mouth and out come offensive things. That's what I say. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Well, you did pretty good tonight, other than the one plan B thing, which was okay.
I did. We didn't have a plan B, and I think that's ironic since it's readily available over the counter. I thought I could have stopped and picked up one, but I didn't. So.
I'm going to leave that for you, Wendy.
Wendy doesn't even want it. She's like, no.
No. Winter is coming. How's that? How's that?
Yes. Now, earlier I heard you guys talking about John Oliver. Were you guys talking about the Last Week Tonight host, John Oliver?
Yes.
We were. Yeah, that is one of Wendy's favorites.
Me
she
too.
Is. Yeah. He is hilarious. He really is. And his show is brilliantly written.
Oh my God.
I don't know I honestly don't know if he writes his stuff or if he has a staff that writes, but it is brilliantly written. It really is.
Well, he pulls it off brilliantly. So.
He does. It is his delivery. A lot of it is.
Yeah.
A lot. Well, it's about 80% delivery, 20% the accent.
Yes.
The British accent does really lend its own credence and credibility to what he's saying.
How come they didn't have a new one this past Sunday? They just came back from their summer break.
Probably because the Emmys were televising.
Oh, okay.
Because I was sad.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Since the Emmys were telecast, they were probably repeat.
I see.
Yeah. So.
Well, I want to know what he has against the Olsen twins, where he says they're not twins; it's just one girl going back and forth really fast, playing the part.
Yes.
I'm like, dude, you brought that up on like a half a dozen shows. What the hell?
Yeah.
I have not heard that particular comment.
Yeah, he brings it up several times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Olsen twins have been the butt of jokes for years, though. I mean, everybody has ragged on them. I mean, they're just.
But he insists they're not twins. There's just one, and she moves at uber sound speeds, back and forth to play both.
That would explain why they both, in quotation marks, look so rough.
Could be.
Just that maintaining life at that type of speed will wear you down.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah. Fun times.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh well, that is about all I have, ladies.
Yeah, same here. I think we could probably close out here shortly. I haven't seen anyone but Carly and I in the chat room, so I think we lost a lot of our listeners when Cindy didn't materialize on the show.
It happens. Well, we're used to that.
Oh, yeah. Caca happens,
Yep.
excrement happens, and then you book the
Hell,
next.
Hell, I'm happy if both Wendy and I show up for a show. I think that's a success right there. I mean,
Yes, indeed.
So who's next week's guest? Bill Bean.
Bill Bean.
Said? Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
Bill is next week's guest. He'll be coming on. And like I said, I mean, he's very vague about what he wants to talk about, but he's very adamant about what he wants to talk about. So,
we're gonna, drop him in the middle of it and maybe run.
I'm thinking that it's kind of like pull the pin, throw, count to 10. It's like we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens. But he's very adamant. He's very passionate about what he wants to talk about. So we're definitely going to let him have his way next Wednesday night. And at that point, hopefully, we'll. As Carly, you said you're not going to be able to show up because of the end of the world, but hopefully Wendy's computer will be functioning, and she'll actually have mastered this new machine that has been delivered. A week late, by the way. What the hell's up with that?
I don't know. They made the shipping label on that Monday, I think like Monday the 11th, and it wasn't shipped until the end of that week, and then it arrived today. So, I don't know if they think they're fooling people, but they fooled me into trusting them. That won't happen again, and then we'll have to see how the computer works.
Well, it beats the 3 weeks I had to wait for an air conditioning unit to be delivered to the radio station.
Crap. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. So you win. Yeah. Kudos to you. At least you got it. You can work on it. You've got a whole week to play with it and work all the bugs out and make sure everything's functioning the way it's supposed to function.
And if not, I'm sure I'll be here.
Good. Very good. Well,
at least in some reality. In some reality,
yes. Maybe not in yours, but yes.
I'm going to have to beef up the gargoyle wall to protect against negative influences.
Well, that's cool. I always like listening when Bill Bean's on, so I'm going to have to tune in, even if I'm not producing.
Bill is interesting. He always brings some very interesting concepts to the table. And that's one of the reasons the shows never really go the way that they are planned, because once Bill starts, he just kind of
goes
flow. He does, and we just kind of have to go with him. So we'll see.
Well, unless it says something that has me going, hold it, road.
Yeah. Which hopefully that won't happen.
Hopefully not. I'll try to contain myself.
Yep. Do we have an out song? Did the wonderful producer of...
Yes.
What do we have?
It is In Chains by Shaman's Harvest.
Shaman.
Oh, sorry, Shaman.
That's okay. I went with a theme tonight. I felt like rocking out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well. It might be the last rock of the whole week, so...
That's right.
That works.
And
let's
be sure to play the outtake for the show that's coming up. You, Carly, that
me?
one, yeah.
The Coach Judy one.
Yeah, Coach Judy. Thank you.
Okay.
I was eluding my. Yeah.
I'm like, what's she talking about? She didn't tell me to load anything that was about a show coming up. Okay. All right, I got it. It's on there too.
Okay. Marvelous. Yay.
Well, we will see everyone next Wednesday with Bill Bean.
Thank you for joining us this evening, if you did, and sorry for the inconvenience if this threw you that Cindy wasn't here. But once again, I know she's got good reasons. She's just a good person. So anyway, all right. Good night, everybody.
Beginning on September 26th, internationally recognized author and life coach, Coach Judy Romanoff, will host a 15-minute segment twice a month on Crimson Cloak Publishing Radio. Coach Judy Romanoff, known for turning tragedies into triumph, has touched the lives of millions of single-parent families. Her tale of woes of turning negativity into positive energy has led to being a former guardian ad litem with the courts, a parenting expert in the area of divorce and single parenting, producing a professional video titled Practical Knowledge for Facing Divorce and Single Parenthood, a talk show host, media personality, and motivational speaker. She was recently called the Dr. Phil of Family Court. She will be taking your call-in questions, issues, and concerns. Don't miss the first installment, Tuesday, September 26th, during Crimson Cloak Publishing Radio, part of Mystic Moon Mafia.
Death and mercy, come take me from this cage. 'Cause these four walls and iron bars have been witness to the rage of 1,000 broken hearts and change. Like a cripple without his cane, a king without a crown. The passion that once consumed me has turned to ashes on the ground. All that I've been given, I give it to you. I can't stand here watching you fail to tell the truth. Somebody break these chains wrapped around this heart. I don't want to leave it. I'm begging for mercy, honey, break these chains. Oh, heaven, help me now. Trade the shackle for a crown, and I'm on my way. Warm the ice that fills my veins, pumping till I'm numb. Lead me out of the darkness where it's so hard to escape from. All that I've been given, I give it to you. I can't stand here watching you fail to tell the truth. Somebody break these chains wrapped around this heart. I don't want to leave it. I'm begging for mercy, honey, break these chains. Oh, heaven, help me
Thank you for joining us tonight. You've been listening to Mystic Moon Cafe. Join us every Wednesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. On behalf of Wendy Schindler, this is Travis Short saying have a great rest of your week.